Welcome to the PanelCast. I am your host AJ, and in this episode, I am on location, as you can see behind me, Lost in Time Studios, the home studio of Aaron Funk, tattooist extraordinaire. Hello, Aaron. How are you today?
Hello, I'm great.
Aaron will be doing a wonderful tattoo piece on my ass, shaving and nuzzling in there, getting all nice and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be filming and interviewing him while we're doing it. So let's get a little background on Aaron real quick while he prints everything up. Aaron, you've been tattooing, 28 years now?
28 years.
All because you lost a bet? No.
No, my friends lost a bet.
That's it? They lost a bet, so now you have to tattoo them for the rest of their lives?
That's right.
Awesome.
Yep.
How'd you get into it?
Basically being a product of a misspent youth. Started jacking up my friends when I was about 14 years old. Ended up getting my life together and going to art college. Went to Art Center College of Design, got a degree in graphic design, tried a whole bunch of different things. Always at the same time was still tattooing, and decided that that's just what I want to do. So jumped in head first, went down to Empire Tattoo in Rialto and talked to Sean Warcott, and he gave me my first shot at 19 years old. So never looked back.
Nice. Empire's where I got my armband from. Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But so what keeps you in the game? What makes you every morning wake up and want to get back into it? And
I love my job. I love everything about it. I love that every day is different. I love being creative, but not always having to think of my own ideas and getting writer's block. My clients kind of do that for me and give me the freedom to kind of expand on it and make it nice for them. So that's just what I love.
And were you an artist before this?
I mean, I had drawn since birth, but this is really the first and only almost professional thing that I've done in that aspect.
Okay.
Animation for a short time, murals for a short time, but still at the same time I was tattooing, you know.
Now, are you yourself like a geek in any way? Like you like the horror movies, you like the sci-fi, any of that
Love
stuff?
horror movies, but the nerdiest thing about me is that I'm a diehard raver.
As you will see throughout the filming process, the music in the background that he subjects his people to.
You're welcome.
is very colorful and throbbing at times, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just messing with them. I don't mind the music at all. I've known Aaron for, I don't know, a few decades now. We go back for a bit. And he's been doing a lot of work on me recently, and I really appreciate it. But I don't know, I think you got the skills. He tattoos all our friends. He takes care of all of us. And I can't recommend him enough. You see him in all our comic books, how much we love him. So stay tuned. We're going to be coming in and out of the tattooing process, showing how we go along and stuff. But there is a question I have to ask real fast. Please, please, please tell me your favorite tattoo story.
Oh my God. You put me on the spot with that one.
Okay.
I'll come back to that.
What about do's and don'ts that you as a tattoo artist hate when people come in and ask?
I'll come back to that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any taboos or something like you just hate when guys come in and be like, give me this Trump flag on me right now or something? Is there something like...
Oh yeah, anything. I will not do anything gang related, racist. I try to stay away from politics, you know.
Yeah.
But
I don't mean to put you on a political spot. I just asking if there's like,
yeah.
If there's...
Not really. I mean, my job basically in my whole life is kind of wrapped around freedom of choice and expression. Okay. So I try not to judge that much. I'll just try to take any idea and elevate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you hear that here first. Judgment-free zone until we leave.
Oh yeah.
And then we snicker and tell stories about it. But So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take that first break. I'll come back once the tears are dried up from my eyes. And we'll see you guys then. So, still back in Aaron's office. He's out while we're waiting on some stuff to print. So, I'm just going to take a shot at his studio here, real quick. It's got a lot of great art pieces here. And like I said, he likes the raves. Back over here. And, I mean, water and free candy. What more can you ask for from a tattoo studio? This is what I'm getting done on me. It's gonna be so cool. Ah. I am back and I'm getting the work done. Aaron, we were just talking about your DJing stuff. How'd you get into that?
Just from my love of the music. And then my buddy bought some CDJs, brought them to my house because his wife would not let him have them at her house rather. And so I just started playing with it in my spare time and fell in love. It's I love it because it's the exact. It's a way to be creative, but the exact opposite from tattooing, to where rather than sitting down and focusing so hard on one thing, you're not using your eyeballs, you're using your ears, and you're just more jiving. So it's a good way to unwind.
So you just want to try and engage all your senses throughout the day.
Yes.
That's a good way to do.
For sure. I'm pretty lucky. We have music every morning and night in the house, and then artwork going on all day long. So, pretty good life.
Living the dream.
Yep.
Awesome. I hate you.
Oh, you're almost there.
I hate you, but it's all out of love. He says while resisting screaming. Now, how did you learn tattooing?
Okay, so everything that I did all up until the point where I got into a shop, I was 100% self-taught. At Empire, Sean, I don't think he quite knew what he was getting himself into by hiring me, knowing that I was a novice at best. So about 2 weeks into working there, I had found out that I was just about to get fired. And
hold on, the beat's about to drop. Hold on. There we go. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on, sir. Sorry.
Good catch. So I was just about to get fired. I found out from one of my coworkers. He says, "Man, you are on your way out. You're horrible." Well, at that time, when I got hired at the shop, I dove in head first. I had a couple other jobs that I had quit. I was working at Trader Joe's and Aaron Brothers. Quit all those jobs the day that I got hired at Empire. and I had a son on the way. So there's no backup plan for me. So I decided my shift that I worked there was 8 to midnight. So I started going in every day at opening and just looking over shoulders, and I think they appreciated my effort and drive, and that I just, really wanted to get better. And then they had heard my story that I literally did not have a backup plan. So they realized how serious I was, and then the guys down there, Mike Trike and Sean Warcott, and also this guy Han Scheibe, who became almost a father figure to me, kind of really took me under their wing and showed me the ropes and gave me a shot.
So it's his fault.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna have to go to either Hamilton, Texas to find Sean these days out at a Texas Rose Tattoo, or you're gonna have to go to Keystone, South Dakota to find Mike Trike, But still keep in touch with them. They're both amazing and still legends in my mind.
Awesome. Well, we'll let you get back to working on me, and we'll check back in a little bit.
Is that on? Okay.
And we're back, everybody. Still here. Still getting tattooed. Still. Yeah. So I asked you a couple questions earlier that you told me to come back to you about. Have you had time to think about it? One of them was story. I believe it was what's your favorite tattoo story?
Lord, that's still, there's just so many. Yeah, come back to me again on that one.
I've already come back to you.
It's just,
Okay, what's the worst tattoo you ever did, like your nightmare story?
One time this guy came in, he wanted this skull octopus tattooed on the inside of his arm. I'm kidding.
I was about to pinch your nipple really hard.
Again, another tip.
See?
Almost all of those just horrible tattoo ideas are people that have minimal or no experience with what is tattooable, really, or tattoo translatable, but insist on drawing their own designs and giving no leniency to the design itself.
Example.
It come out horrible. I would really have to show you in order for you to understand. I did this god awful, and this was back in the day when I would do anything to walk through the door because I was relying on walk-ins, 25 years ago. This woman came in, drew her own son, and it's just a cluster. It looked horrible. I'd seen her years later. She was in the process of getting a laser removed. She put no blame on me, she knew that she was going to have it her way,
Right.
But yeah, it's just, mistakes you make along the way, and
Yep, there it is.
found it.
Well, I was thinking more as like, not really design, but work you did on somebody that went wrong, or you had to tattoo the inside of somebody's bunghole or something like that. What's the worst place you had to tattoo somebody?
Okay, this I do have a clear answer for. It was, I remember almost down to the day of the month. It was in December, Empire Tattoo Redlands. I was working by myself. This is about 24 years ago. I'm getting ready to close up the shop. And this woman comes in and she's like frantic. She says, would you please tattoo my man's name on me? I know I'm catching you just as you're closing up, but would you please do it? I said, all right, well, how big do you want to make it? She says, only about 2 inches long. I said, all right. I went back into my station, set up for her, got ready. Should have asked her where. Now, this woman, not to body shame, but was, I would say, about 5'2" and easily in the 300-pound range. So you can imagine she's got some body contours, which
right.
I'm used to working with. That's completely fine. This woman, however, had forgotten that maybe before you kind of get a tattoo, it'd be a good idea to take a shower. So, sit her down in my chair and I say, okay, here's your design. Where do you want to put it? She says, I'd like to put that right on the inside of my thigh. Now, we're not talking inside thigh as far as like down by the knee. I'm talking she's got to lift and then lift, and right next to her vagina. Again, I'm a professional. I do this. I'm like, okay, cool. I sit down. I place it. I'm tattooing her. Look slightly to my right, only to find probably weeks old toilet paper.
Oh.
That was caught.
Oh.
So that tattoo was done with me about 2 feet away in about 30 seconds, knowing full well that she's never going to see it anyways, to be honest, so
right.
Yeah, that was one that haunts me to this day. Now I always when people spoke of me, I'm always very clear on placement for different reasons.
Do you, when they call and they talk and you talk about them getting a tattoo and stuff, do you say please wash the area before you come in?
No. I do have a large amount of hippies and hippie ravers that come to me,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just such common knowledge now, and I'm lucky in the fact that I'm booked a little ways in advance, so people have time to prepare for these things.
Or you can get a rabies shot beforehand.
Oh, all my shots are up to date.
Okay, so do we have any cool celebrity stories or anything?
Not to speak of. Not really.
Well, you're doing a real great job as a guest here, sir.
Well, you gave me all of 5 minutes notice that this was, and didn't send me questions in advance.
Well, you know what? I come up with questions on the fly.
We'll say this. I've had celebrities a lot. I worked in a shop in Hollywood for a while. I know a lot of celebrities, but a lot of celebrities like coming to me because I didn't give a crap who they were. Now that can go one of two ways with people, especially celebrities. They either really appreciate the fact that they're being treated like a normal person, or they get pissed off because you're not, jocking them.
Right.
I attracted the types that just kind of wanted to chill out. I would stay at the shop after hours, tattoo them, and he wrote the screen about it. So didn't make a big deal of it. Never asked autographs or took pictures or it's their experience. It's not mine.
But they all seem to enjoy their experience while they're with you.
Yes.
Like return customers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's good. What about a little history about the tattoo shops you worked with and owned and all that?
So, when I got a job at Empire and Rialto in '96, it was literally one of probably 3 shops that were in the Inland Empire. At least, reputable shops, and it was the most reputable of all of them.
Right.
shop.
Back then, tattoos hadn't blown up like they are now.
No. I believe that shop, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. If I am, sorry, Sean and Mike. I believe it opened in '88.
Well, I went in '91.
Yeah. So it was around that. After being at Empire for about 6 years, me and a partner of mine, we branched off and we opened up Tattoo Revolution in Redlands, which we co-owned and operated for 15 years. And then after that, it was time for a change of scenery, so I moved on. I needed a lifestyle change of my own. I lived, I'd gotten sucked into the stereotypical tattooer lifestyle, so I had to get my shit together too,
Right.
Moved out to LA, and out there I just, almost kind of wanted to shock my system. So I was in the search for the best shops in LA to work with, because I wanted to be punked almost, and I wanted to know what I didn't know. So I went to at first a shop on Melrose called Body Electric, which I quickly found out was mainly just a piercing studio. So I moved on from there.
Is that a bad thing for you, or is it just?
It wasn't
a good fit in there.
It wasn't a good fit at all. It was very, very sceney. I'm not about that. And yeah, the fact that it was a predominantly piercing shop, it just wasn't art based, and it also wasn't tattooer owned, which is kind of a big deal for me. It was piercer owned,
Which means they got all the business was aimed toward them as opposed to you. Or
that part didn't bug me
or
so much.
even balance.
It's more of just I don't know, just the way it was run. It was run more like almost like a boutique than an art studio kind of feeling,
Right.
So from there, I left there, started looking around a little bit more, and stumbled upon Timeless Tattoo on Melrose and Vine in Hollywood, and they were great. I hit it off with the owner right away. His name is Connor Garrity. Turns out the manager that was there at the time who had interviewed me actually came into Tattoo Revolution when she was going to the University of Redlands and asked for an apprenticeship, and my partner had told her no because he didn't. I won't say why because I don't want to smear his name too much. Anyways, we'll just say
He didn't like her toilet paper?
yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
So, her name was Hookah. She's amazing. Yeah, I had a great experience down there. Kind of was really able to learn a lot of things. Hence me sitting here using these quiet machines, which I, wouldn't have even given a shot back in the day.
Why?
Because, man, I was loyal to the coil, as they say. It just wasn't. I was resistant to change because I wanted to keep a lot of the old school stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm still very loyal to coil machines for certain things, But as far as versatility and everything else, these little guys are pretty good. So yeah, worked at Timeless in Hollywood for I don't know, about 3 years, but actually only worked there for I'd say a year because right smack in the middle of that was when COVID hit, and all of Hollywood closed down. They let us open for a week. They closed us down again for a week. Health department actually came to us at one point and said, okay, you guys, you can stay open and tattoo, but you have to do it outside. This is the health department speaking to us. So, politely declined blind. So, at about the time of the Rona, I was, I'm not gonna work.
Right.
So I had some situations going on, and I ended up speaking with my friend Chris, who was the owner of Lost in Time, is the owner of Lost in Time in Riverside, and he says, buddy, just come out and work out here. It's Riverside. We're a private appointment only studio. We're not open to the public. Everybody knows what we're doing. They just don't care. Chad Bianco is the sheriff. You know what I mean? So I mean, he could care less. And yeah, after that, it was a great fit. Chris and I, we'd been on each other's radar for about 20 years, but never actually worked together. And little did I know, we've become best friends, in the process of all that. So it's funny how things work out.
And here we are.
And here we are.
Well, awesome. All right, guys, we're going to take another quick break while I cry some more, and we'll be back. And we are back to disco tattooing with AA Ron Funk here. How's it going, Aaron?
Still going.
Are you enjoying this tattoo?
Of course.
Or this tattooing session?
I just like my job.
J-O-B, job. Now, there was a time you were thinking about doing something other than this job, wasn't there?
I've done many other things, along with this job.
Well, I was talking about your stepping into the MMA octagon.
Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, that was let's see. Oh my God, when I think about it, it makes me feel old. That was in 2003, 2002, 2003, and yeah, now that was a product of a broken heart. So I was going through a really, really rough breakup at one point in my life, and one of my friends, his name was Ralph, he could really see it on my face that I was just lost at that point. So I was tattooing him, and he reaches out to me and he says, hey, you know what, why don't you come down to this gym I've been going to? It's a place called the Shark Tank in San Bernardino. It's just an MMA thing. I think you'll like it, and it really will, help get you out of this state that you're in right now. So being desperate and willing to try anything to get over this broken heart that I was dealing with, I went down the very next day. Met the trainer at the place. His name was Brian Warren, and instantly fell in love. Started going there every single day, and Brian's like, he kept asking me, man, you should take it easy. And I said, no, I need my ass kicked. So he says, okay.
Beat the pain out of me?
But yeah, essentially, or as just extremely masochistic at the time. Or is it sadistic? Which one is it?
Or if you're inflicting pain on yourself, that's masochistic.
Masochistic, yes.
Yeah, so
at the time.
Yeah.
So.
But if you're asking other people, that's sadistic, isn't it?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway. It's not like you were cutting yourself. You were asking people to beat the shit out of you, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I just needed to be smacked around a little bit, I knew that I was in a pretty pathetic state. So this was when the whole MMA thing was kind of in its infancy, and the main venue back then, the local venue, was called King of the Cage. this was before a whole lot of things were sanctioned kind of the way that they are now. I mean, to the point to where if they didn't have a fighter show up for a fighter, if somebody couldn't perform, they would literally call people out of the crowd and just say, hey, who wants to fight?
Right.
You know, and people would show up in the ring with board shorts on in Vans. You know, my buddy Shad Smith was known for doing that. So yeah, I did that for a short time, and honestly, I took my first fights in the ring with, and I'm not joking, only about 2 weeks of training underneath my belt. And I think that might have been poor management on my trainer's part. You know, he should have been a little more protective of his students, but. I surprisingly didn't do horrible, and I think I mainly did well because I didn't want to get hit. You know, to be honest, I tried to annihilate somebody really quick before they could even touch me. And I went at it so furiously, and my MMA career is so short-lived because in a 2-month period, I had done 5 competitions. And the last competition that I went into, I walked into it, and this was just a boxing match. It was the Tough Man contest. I walked into the competition with a fractured hand, a cracked rib, and a broken nose. Going into it, I won that fight, and then went home, and during my healing process, I realized that, you know, my hands are my money makers.
Mm-hmm.
I was never really going to be good enough to where I was going to go anywhere with it. I'm not an athletic person. I just happened to do pretty well at that for a second. And during my healing process, I thought to myself, man, could I literally be doing anything else right now? You know? I'd see my buddies from the gym just be like, you know, let's just go to dinner. Why do we always have to hit each other every single time we see each other, you know?
Can't we just play dominoes?
So, yeah, I beat that breakup out of myself, pretty much.
And it worked?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was one of the most pivotal times in my life because I did experience a brotherhood going to that gym like I had never experienced before.
Well, I mean, things worked out for you, so it seemed to... But did you learn anything good, like any kind of holds and everything that you still carry over with you?
Any kind of what now?
Any holds or anything that you still carry over with you, like...
Yeah, all that stuff's kind of like riding a bicycle. Now my cardio is shit, so, you know,
Right.
basically you just have to run away for about a minute and a half and I'd be winded, but...
Well, that's 1:29 more than me. In fact, I'm winded thinking about running away right now, so... So let's move on to a little bit more about tattooing itself. You were telling us about coil.
Mm-hmm.
What's that all about? Tell us about the different types of machines and stuff like that.
So coil machines are the traditional type of loud, clacky tattoo machines that have been around since the beginning of time, which is basically a glorified like electromagnet or doorbell. And those machines are great. It just there's something about them, the way that they feel, the way they hit, the way they put lines in, that I just absolutely love. You do have to fiddle with them a lot, as far as adjusting and all. So, which is why shortly the next step that I took was, it's considered almost like a coil rotary hybrid. This guy named Dan Cuban makes these really wonderful machines that, rather than, I'd have to really kind of show you in order to understand, but they spin on a rotor but still have the spring like a coil machine, so they got the same sound, they have the same give, but are a little bit less of a hassle. And then these are considered just rotary machines. The good thing about these is that there's really no adjustments to be made. You know, you get what you get. They're very consistent. However, they don't have the give that machines with springs have. So it's sort of like a direct drive sort of thing. So you have to really pay attention to needle depth, because when they hit, they hit. They'll go in as hard as you push without the needle backing up at all. And it's easy to chew the skin up that way. So it's just all like a little bit of a learning curve. And it was something that I forced myself to learn just because I didn't want these, you know, the kids that were doing amazing work with them to make me their bitch, you know? Like, I need to learn that too and do what they're doing with that. So
you still feel the competitive edge in there.
100%. Yeah, one thing I had always promised myself is that the day that I stopped learning in this job was the day that I quit, because that's the day that you just become stagnant. You know, if you want to learn, you'll learn something every single day. If you stop learning, that's your own fault, and it's time for you to get out.
And what did you learn today?
You're putting these.
I told you I'm a good interviewer, dude.
Put me on the spot with these weird abstract questions. I mean, you know, you learn something new all the time. Like, you have different skin than my last client, you know? So it's just how to work with one more types of skin.
Is there a type of skin you prefer to work on other than others?
Okay, to be honest, yes. This is gonna sound super funny, but if I never tattoo another white person, specifically redhead, ever again in my entire life, it'll be too soon. They just happen. They just turn really red. It's hard to see what you're really truly putting in there right away. Hispanic and Asian skin is just, and the way that the ink just kind of settles in, to me, it just looks almost beautiful.
Oh, well, lucky me, I'm both.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I thought I was having fun doing this.
He says now, making it up on the spot to make me feel better for what he's doing. What is there like a favorite name brand of stuff you like to use?
Machines. I like. Okay, as far as coils are concerned, I like to have all my coils custom made, and I like to have them custom made by old school guys that know what the fuck is up. My favorite machine builder for coils, his name is Mike Pike, and he does some incredible machines. I always tell him whenever I call him to place an order, I say, look, I want a machine that looks like it's been dropped a few times. You know, I like to, because he gets very creative with the design as well, but they all are just the most incredible machines that I've ever gotten from him. As far as those rotary coil hybrids, there's all kind of only one name in the game, which is Dan Cuban. There's other that try and knockoffs that try, but he's, you know, that's the only guy to go to. It's Cuban with a K. As far as these pen type machines, I mean, honestly, what I'm using on you right now is called a mast, which is a sort of a little cheapy. This one in particular, though, I really like. I like the length of the stroke on it, which is a 5 millimeter, which means it's got the punching power to kind of like put in lines, and I can work off the tip of my needle and really see what I'm doing. Aside from that, though, other wonderful companies are either FK Irons or Bishop that make these machines, and they do a really great job at them.
Now, what about type of ink? How does that affect your tattooing, and what kind do you prefer?
So, as far as black is concerned, I really like Dynamic. It's got that, some blacks, like, you know, your Pelicans or other companies kind of take on a, you know, either a bluish or a brownish tone when you put them in, especially like the black and grays, which some people really like. I just am real partial to how Dynamic heals. As far as colors are concerned, I love Eternal, but I'm telling you, there's no substitution for like canary yellows and whites. Starbright has got the best hands down on the canary yellow and the white. For some reason, the other companies, they try, but it's just not the same.
Now, styles of tattoo. What kind do you like to do most?
I really like realistic black and gray. I like anything that's fucking trippy. Anytime a client tells me that they want me to go home and eat a handful of mushrooms to design their tattoo, that's what I really, really, really can dig my teeth into, because I can go wild, and I know that my client is up for almost anything, you know. And that's I think where we get the kind of the best results.
So, what about, you do great work with color and stuff like that too. Do you prefer color? But you just said black and gray, but I mean,
I like black and gray realism. I don't like necessarily color realism, but I do love doing color. So the color would kind of, I'd say, more on the trippy side, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And get some of the real, you know, bright, either like mandala things or just melting shit, or, you know.
You like mind tripping, LSD warping type of stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, anything I'm looking at in your office here is what you want to tattoo.
Yep.
Great. Got it.
Yep.
So you hate tattooing me, is what you're saying?
No. No.
Because all I get is solid black all the time.
You know, as long as you're not, you know, since we're past this stage up here with your just straight 90s tribal, this stuff that you're getting now is fun.
Hey, you know what? The tribal I got, that arm piece right there, Empire tattoo.
I know. And you were the shit in 95, huh?
That's right. No, actually, I was the shit in 93. Thank you.
Whoa. You started it.
That's
so
right.
I can blame you.
Yeah, that's right. All of us in the army had it, okay, buddy?
You and George Clooney.
That's right. That was part of the reason. What about what was your favorite tattoo that you got?
Oh, my back piece. Well, so here's the thing. Anymore, because my back piece has a lot of meaning for me, and it's the most epic piece that I have, for sure.
And you'll show that to us later, right?
Yes, I will. And it was born out of a really strong trip that I had, and I had this vision that just stuck with me, and so I had to translate it somehow. Which was basically a Kali and Lakshmi were almost doing this dance, and I understood both of their roles and how they complement each other, even though that they're so opposite each other, but they're both necessary. To be a little bit vague about it.
Please, we don't like details in this show.
But I have some tattoos on me that are really, really sentimental, and well done. Like my son, when he tattooed me for my birthday a year ago, that's one of my favorite tattoos. I love it. And then I have tattoos that are really, really, really shitty. And it's and they're some of my favorites. It's kind of about more who did it than what it is.
And why is that?
I have a leg that I've pretty much submitted as my fuck it leg. I had so much jacked up stuff on there. I'm like, am I really going to get all this covered up and lasered off, or am I just going to keep going with it? So I decided, well, I'll just keep going with it. So now, anytime one of my little nieces or nephews or whatever, show any kind of a desire, or my wife, to see what it's like to tattoo, I say, yeah, go ahead, go for it. And they're all really great memories, and they're people that will be with me forever. Tattoos look like crap, but I love them.
But no, that's a good reason. That's a good story to have right there.
Yeah.
So why didn't you say that when I asked you for your favorite memory, huh?
I thought you were talking about other people.
I was.
I think I've gotten to the point anymore to where I tattoo so many people that I realize that the experience is it's your experience. So I don't really kind of hang on to your experience.
Yeah, but you told me one story one time that I'm trying to get out of you about the tattoo on the butthole.
Oh, the daddy.
Daddy.
That's just a lost bet.
Tell me about that story, please. Tell the audience tell me some stories about that.
It's just a cute little girl that came into the shop and had lost a bet. Cute little thing. Said that she had to get daddy tattooed on her. Again, one of those questions where we should have asked where. And sit her down, and she says that, oh yeah, part of the bet was that she had to get daddy written around her butthole.
On the wrinkle parts?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Imagine trying to stretch that skin.
Oh.
Which, doesn't sound horrible, but when you so generally speaking, I'm paying so much close attention to what I'm doing, I don't realize where I'm at.
Right.
Half the time. However, in a place like that, it's definitely that's when I realized I could never ever in my whole life get into nursing. The closest just to wiping somebody.
Oh, okay. So you mean caring for someone, an elderly?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Any other stories like that?
I mean, not that gnarly. I've got stories of other people doing great. Well, yeah, okay, I got a couple. Got a friend of mine one time told me that, and I always drew the line at tattooing dicks. I'm like, look, man, you're not going to make that thing a piece of art anyways. Generally speaking, anytime that I'd ever had anybody approach me about doing a penis tattoo, it was kind of evident that they were more interested in just me holding their penis than getting a penis tattoo.
I'd just be impressed you found it.
So, yeah. Well, so, except for my buddy comes to me one day, and he's a funny kid. I'm not going to mention his name because he's kind of switched up his ways now. I don't know if he wants anybody to know. But he goes, hey, anybody that knows this guy will know the impression that I'm doing of him. He goes, hey, I got this tattoo idea, and it's going to be bad. And I said, okay, what's your great tattoo idea? Mind you, this is the same guy that... He's a broke little kid hanging around the shop, and his idol was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he wanted a portrait of Arnold, but he didn't have any money. And I said, you know what, I almost said his name. You know what? I'll do a portrait of him on you, but for free, but I have to choose what it is, which one it is. And it's a portrait of Arnold Schwarzenegger, his high school graduation photo. Goofiest looking picture you've ever seen in your life. Anywho, he comes to me one day and says, I got this other tattoo idea, and it's going to be awesome. And the guy is the equivalent of like McLovin. I said, well, what do you want? He goes, okay, but you gotta do it for me today before I lose my nerve, and I want it on my dick. And I said, I'm not doing that.
You almost dropped his name again.
He goes, but you have to hear me out. Ended up getting the USDA Select beef stamp on the top.
On the top?
Right smack on the top of his shaft, and it was the funniest thing ever because, I mean, I'll tell you, I was there, and it is not USDA Select.
You should have put 98% lean or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. My old partner, he had a lot of similar things, but he tattooed himself.
On the junk?
All over his junk. Yeah.
Oh.
And he was a heavy set guy, and so on the tip he threw a brain on there, which is whatever it's.
Right.
He had, down the side he had the symbol from In-N-Out Burgers. Yeah. We used to do funny stuff like now. I never did that, but the guys would do stuff like that when we'd just be sitting around the shop bored. This is before cell phones, when people,
right,
would just stare at their cell phones all day. They would tattoo their dicks instead out of sheer boredom.
I'm glad I didn't hang around those days. Speaking of which, how is it different now than it was back then with tattooing?
So,
let's say as opposed to when you first started.
Okay. This is kind of a depressing thing. Individual creativity is really suffering, and it's because people are getting their ideas off of either what celebrities are doing, because I mean the news is just so accessible to all of us now with cell phones,
right,
and the internet. Back then, people had to think about what they were going to get. They would come in, have a artist custom design it for them. They would trust the artist. Now everybody's a fucking expert because they watched a couple episodes of like Ink Master, and they've done their fair share of like scrolling through Pinterest. And it's more about. And now this isn't the exclusive rule, but it's becoming more about, kind of keeping up with what other people are doing rather than thinking for yourself.
Mm. Do you like doing, say, God, I can't even think of the word right now. Like horror or comic books or cartoon stuff, or do you like that stuff at all? Like,
I'm not too comic book. I mean, I'll do anything, honestly, I'll make it look good. But
I mean, you did a sleeve for our friend recently that was all like zombie.
yeah, I love anything horror related. And then, like with his sleeve, you get a good like 80s, 90s throwback look.
Mhm.
That's a lot of fun. Just anything where I can kind of get creative is a lot of fun. I do really love any kind of horror iconography though.
Now, off the bat, let's say tattoo shop simple rules. What's some common sense do and don'ts when you're walking into a tattoo shop? Say, average Joe just walks in.
So,
What's shop etiquette for you?
shop at it first. I mean, show up with a good idea. Find somebody that you like their work, trust, be willing to sit down with them, give them some freedom. If an artist says, look, this design that you have, and sometimes they'll put it gently, like they'll say, hey, can I do you a favor and just spice this up for you a little bit, That's their way of saying that it's kind of shitty, and they can elevate what you're bringing in. Be open to that. Never don't get a tattoo because of either A, price, or location. It's gonna be there forever. They always say that the sweet taste of a low price will, or I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Essentially, having a tattoo look nice is going to stick with you way longer than getting a deal. Yeah.
And I'm now handing it over to the camera person so I can relax my hand to do other things. Okay. Okay. What other questions do I have? I don't know. Oh, numbing cream.
Mm-hmm.
Some tattoo artists hate it. Some people like it. What's your opinion of it?
So I understand both trains of thought. Whatever. I'm not going to convince. If people are convinced one way or the other, I don't give a shit. On first timers, I will not use it, and that's only because, generally speaking, well, you just kind of have to know,
Right?
know? You just have to. You gotta earn one. Also, on first timers, their parents or somebody older than them has told them, okay, it's gonna hurt, you'll get through it, whatever. The second that it doesn't hurt because they were numbed up, they're gonna spend the rest of their lives talking shit to their parents.
Right.
So,
And when they get that second tattoo without the numbing cream, they're gonna be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, right. However, for larger pieces, I love using numbing cream on people. Some tattooers frown on it. I don't give a shit. They don't like the way the texture that it makes the skin. I don't really notice much of a difference. Everybody's got a different skin texture anyways, so I just adjust accordingly. I haven't had hardly any bad reactions from using it. It helps me get through larger pieces. It helps you get through larger pieces without moving. One part that I hate about my job, the only part that I hate about my job is releasing people in a whole ton of pain and then holding them down. I'm just not an asshole like that.
Like with my back
And
piece.
then I love it. I love it when I hear the argument where, like, you know, and I've heard tattooers say this. Well, it's not the old school way. Awesome. You want to live by that rationale? Go on down to the dentist next time you get a root canal, and
Right.
just take a shot of whiskey. You know, tell the dentist just to go for it.
Right.
Because that's the way they used to do it.
Well, you know what?
You know?
Just get a pair of pliers and do it yourself.
Yeah, you know, or you know, you need something amputated. Here's a piece of wood to bite on.
Right.
Yeah.
Really hardwood, so your teeth chip.
Right. And with that's a wrap.
Ah!
See?
I don't mind saying
and
that.
you feel it anyways.
You feel it one way or another.
Yeah.
Alright guys, we're going to take a quick break, clean everything up. When we come back, we'll show you the final result. And there is Aaron's back, and holy shit. That is awesome. Who did the work?
His name's Mark Salinas. I worked with him at our Redlands location.
That's phenomenal. How many sittings?
7-hour sessions.
Jesus. Awesome. And there you have it, folks. The final product. Looks pretty nice, huh? Pretty good. I guess we'll keep Aaron around. So once again, thank you, Mr. Aaron,
Welcome.
for spending some time with us here on the show today, and making me bleed. Thanks everybody for tuning in throughout the process. If you have any questions or what have you, please hit me up and shoot me an email. If you have any questions for Aaron, just let me know and I will transfer all questions over to him. Lost in Time is the studio he works out of. Aaron Funk is his name. He is a fantastic tattoo artist and the only one I trust anymore. So call him up if you have any work that you want done. Thanks again to Fever Dog for the soundtrack or intro music that we do for the PanelCast. All the other music here tonight you heard was provided by Aaron's TV. And who was the DJ on this?
Alice in Wonderland right now.
Well, there you go, Alice in Wonderland. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Oh, and by the way, the whole rant he did on gingers, that was directed at you, Richard.